Today on Public Eye News, the Michigan State Police concludes an investigation in Seney, and later the Michigan Army National Guard troops are bound for the southwest border.
Kieran Healy will have your weather forecast for the next couple of days. Later, Austin Graham will bring you today's sports breakdown. I'm Luke Niddle.
And I'm Summer Starrett. This is Public Eye News. In the last week, the Michigan State Police Department has been involved in an investigation that spread across multiple agencies and is located in Schoolcraft County in the northern part of Seney, following a report made earlier this year about suspected human remains from several decades ago. The MSP partnered with local law enforcement to search the terrain in a location north of Seney Township. The investigation and search efforts have now come to a close with no remains found, and the areas previously closed off to the public will be reopened in the following days as personnel remove themselves. And newly announced NMU President Dr. Chris Olson made a statement appreciating Marquette. Quote, "The university is located in a community where we felt extremely comfortable during our visit," end quote. He added that he and his wife Jen felt at home. After a rigorous selection process, NMU announced Olson would be the institution's 19th president. Olson has an extensive background and experience in higher education after serving in multiple areas such as history department chair and dean of colleges of arts and sciences at Indiana State University. NMU's board chair, Steve Young, gives thanks to the Presidential Search Committee and the entirety of campus for their help and support throughout the process. Events to welcome the new president will be announced in the upcoming future.
In honor of the show's 50th anniversary, NMU's Theater and Dance Department is set to present its production of Rocky Horror Picture Show, where the, quote, rules of traditional theater are meant to be broken, end quote. From Thursday, October 23rd through Saturday, the 25th, with a number of showtimes to encapsulate all of their guests. Showtimes for Thursday through Saturday will begin at 7:30 p.m. and additional 10:30 p.m. showtimes for Friday and Saturday evenings. Opening night held an after-show party with refreshments and the opportunity to connect with the cast and crew. When viewing the show, keep in mind that it is intended for mature audiences only, and event tickets can be purchased either online or in person with varying prices. And today, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, in partnership with the Michigan Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity, or LEO, has announced the state has received an $8 million federal grant. The grant money will be used to support Michigan workers' specialized training to build upon the process of the Michigan Maritime Manufacturing Initiative, or M3. M3 is a $50 million state and federal partnership program to further develop the workforce within the state. These efforts will be done through a collaboration between employers, which will bring together manufacturers, train and assess employees, and reach out to former or laid-off manufacturing workers to offer them employment opportunities. If you're interested in learning more about Michigan's workforce efforts, visit michigan.gov/Leo. And President Trump hosts Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House this afternoon. The high-stakes sit-down also comes a day after a phone call between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin, more than 3 years into his country's war with Ukraine, a war President Trump is trying to end. Natalie Brand reports from the White House.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is making the most of his latest trip to Washington. Ahead of his sit-down this afternoon with President Trump, he met with U.S. defense contractors and the U.S. Secretary of Energy.
We are thankful for these contacts. And also we spoke about the companies who can bilaterally also help with some technically with some things.
Zelensky is expected to push the White House for more advanced weapons, including long-range Tomahawk missiles, which Russia says would be a major escalation. While President Trump has previously said he would consider it, he said this on Thursday after a 2.5-hour phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
We need Tomahawks for the United States of America, too. We have a lot of them, but we need them. They're very accurate, they're very good, but we need them, too. So I don't know what we can do about that.
President Trump also said he and Putin agreed to meet in Hungary, potentially in the coming weeks. It would be the second in-person meeting between the leaders in recent months, but after the summit in Alaska, Russia's attacks on Ukraine only escalated.
Why do you think a second meeting with Putin now will yield different results?
Well, I think Alaska actually set a stage, and that wasn't very long ago, but it set a stage.
President Zelensky says a barrage of drone strikes this week targeted energy and civilian infrastructure in Ukraine, terrorizing life in the country. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Now don't touch that dial. We'll be back with your weather and statewide news after this short break.
Austin City Limits Hall of Fame honors My Morning Jacket.
Saturday night at 11, WNMU TV.
Welcome back. I'm Kieran Healy, and I'll be taking you through our Public Eye Weather Report. So starting with our campus cam, there's not a lot of activity on campus right now that we can see, but I'm sure that everybody's outside enjoying the beautiful weather. Moving across the map, you'll see those high temps in Houghton at 74, Ironwood 70, Iron Mountain 71, and down in Menominee at 71, with some mostly sunny skies across the western end of the UP. And then moving across the other end of the UP, in Escanaba it'll be 66, Manistee 65, in Sault Ste. Marie at 61, and back here in Marquette it's cloudy with clouds over the eastern end of the UP. Taking a closer look at current conditions, we've got those mostly cloudy skies with winds out of the south at 15 miles an hour with a barometric pressure of 29.73 inches and falling. Then looking at tonight's conditions, we'll have cloudy skies and we can't rule out a chance of rain with a low of 56. Winds could get up to 15 miles an hour with our moon phase at a waning crescent. And then tomorrow we'll have sunny skies and again a high of 66, so it'll stay warm, and a low of 49 with winds out of the southwest at 5 miles an hour. And then across the beginning of next week, Sunday we'll have a high of 53 with some clouds and again a chance of rain for the day on Sunday with a low of 43. On Monday, the sun will peak out a bit with a high of 57 and a low of 47. And then Tuesday, we're looking at rain all day with a high of 50 and a low of 42. Now that's all I've got for this weather report. Now back to the desk.
Thanks for that update, Kieran. It looks like those fall conditions are starting to creep in. But now for some statewide news. Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel has obtained a temporary preliminary injunction blocking the Trump administration's plans through the U.S. Department of Agriculture's call to have states release sensitive information regarding Michigan recipients of Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP. SNAP is federally funded but state-administered program that allows food assistance money to low-income families. When signing up for the program, applicants supply sensitive personal information that is backed by a multitude of laws that allows them the understanding that their information will not be used for anything unrelated to SNAP. Nessel said, quote, "I am grateful the court halted this illegal action and remains committed to protecting the rights of Michigan families," end quote. And today, around 120 Michigan Army National Guard soldiers of the 14th 30th Engineer Company, based out of Traverse City, have hosted a departure ceremony as they will soon depart for the southwest border. The company will be deployed in support of the border's mission with the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, or CBP, where they will provide support, assistance, and enhancing techniques specifically in security operations to allow the CBP to conduct law enforcement missions. This company last saw deployment in 2010 Afghanistan, and for this mission they are expected to be deployed for nearly a year. The ceremony was located at Western Michigan University's Lawson Arena in Kalamazoo and took place at 11 a.m. Another critique of President Trump has been indicted by a grand jury. This time it's John Bolton, Trump's former national security advisor. He pleaded not guilty in court this morning. CBS's Scott McFarlane is in Washington with details on the charges Bolton is facing.
Austin.
John Bolton surrendered to authorities at a Maryland courthouse Friday morning after being accused of mishandling classified materials. It comes 2 months after federal agents searched Bolton's home in Maryland and his office in Washington. Bolton says he's innocent, calling the charges part of Trump's, quote, intensive effort to intimidate his opponents to ensure that he alone determines what is said about his conduct. The 18 felony counts allege Bolton shared more than 1,000 pages of highly sensitive information about his day-to-day activities in the White House, including classified national defense information, some of it top secret, and some of which he emailed in diary-like entries to relatives between April 2018 and September 2019. Prosecutors say after Bolton left office, a cyber actor believed to be associated with Iran hacked Bolton's personal email. Trump responded to the charges Thursday.
I think he's a bad guy. Yeah, he's a bad guy.
Bolton's case is the third in a series of new criminal cases against Trump's rivals, coming just days after former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James were charged in Virginia. They also deny any wrongdoing.
this indictment is definitely much more substantial than the indictments we saw against Jim Comey and Tish James. It paints a picture, allegedly, of a defendant who was careless with classified information, with information concerning the national defense.
Another key difference, CBS News has learned it was a career national security prosecutor who made the case successfully to the grand jury in Maryland against Bolton on Thursday. In the James Comey and Letitia James cases, it's a Trump political appointee, a one-time White House aide, leading those cases. Scott McFarland, CBS News, Washington.
Stick around. After this short break, Austin will be back with a sports report you won't want to miss.
Asking tough questions to those in power.
Should Democrats supply their votes if it means avoiding a government shutdown?
Russia right now has you outmanned, outgunned. Is it time to think about a settlement?
And covering events as they unfold.
8 soldiers died in the second deadliest attack on Israeli forces of the war.
To see so many deaths in one place, it's not humanity.
PBS NewsHour and PBS News Weekend, every night on PBS and streaming.
Welcome back. I'm Austin Graham, and this is your Public Eye Sports Report. Starting with the gridiron, the NMU football team is hitting the road to take on the Roosevelt Lakers. The Wildcats head into this one following a 35-7 loss at home to Grand Valley State. Now the Lakers head into their second ever matchup against NMU, 1-4 on the season, as they are fresh off a road loss to Saginaw Valley State. The Wildcats will look to right their wrongs from last year as the showdown between the two squads saw the game head to overtime. And the end result saw Roosevelt's Cyrus as well score the game-winning touchdown to send the Lakers over the Wildcats 16-10. Kickoff for tomorrow's contest is set for 2 p.m. Eastern. Now, if we step on over to the pitch, the NMU men's soccer team is crossing the Mighty Mac for a pair of 2 huge GLIAC matches. The first of which occurred today saw the Wildcats fall 3-1 to Davenport, with Tristan Nelson being the lone goal scorer for the Wildcats. The Green and Gold will turn their attention to the GLIAC juggernaut in Saginaw Valley State on Sunday. Now, the two squads met a week ago here in Marquette, a week ago today to be exact, with the Wildcats knocking off the then 17 nationally ranked Cardinals 1-0. NMU striker and GLIAC goals leader Luca Rosen scored the game winner against Saginaw as he will look to add to the Cats' offensive onslaught this weekend. Kickoff for Sunday's game is set for 11 a.m. And we're going to end things off on the trails here today as the NMU cross-country team is heading up to the road to Houghton for their final regular season meet. The Wildcats head into the Husky Invitational, ranked as the number 15 team in the nation, led by senior Maddie Sheminsky. The two-time GLIAC Athlete of the Week has led her squad to top 4 finishes in every meet of the season so far. Shemansky also set the program record for her fastest 5K time during the team's most recent meet at the Royals Challenge, shattering the previous record that stood for over 20 years. Now the Cats will be on the hunt for another first-place finish this weekend as they head into enemy territory at Michigan Tech. The start time for today's meet is scheduled for 4:15. It'll be here in just a couple of minutes. That's all I have for sports today. Let's send it back to the desk.
Thank you for that sports report, Austin. Summer, speaking of sports, NMU hockey is having their home opener tonight. How are you feeling?
I'm so excited. Hockey season here is always such a great time, but I hear you have a couple more stories for us.
I do have one more story for us. Aspire's Iron River will be hosting their annual community health fair next Wednesday, October 22nd, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Windsor Center. The event is aimed at health and wellness in the community and will include educational resources and health screenings and host various local organizations. Aspires will also hold meet and greets throughout the event held with local providers. Well, it's always a great opportunity to see community health. I don't know if we'll be able to make it out there, but it's a great event for the community.
Yeah, I appreciate it. But with that, that's all the time we have for Public Eye News today. I'm Summer Starrett.
And I'm Luke Niddle.
We'll see you next time.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth and Edgar Hardin Hall.